Hey everyone, it is personal statement season. Now, if you are in year 13, you're thinking about writing your personal statement. You may be at university, third year, thinking about writing your personal statement for postgrad. You may be a master's student thinking about your PhD. Whatever it is personal statement season, where that is what is on our minds right now. Thinking about how best to apply for university, for whatever program it is that you want to apply for. Personal statement is the most important document that you produce in order to get into university, in order to get into these courses. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about and reading through actually my personal statement that got me into top universities, top research institute in London and in the UK. Hopefully that can give you a bit of an insight as to how you may want to word things, how things might flow, how I describe my experiences and my skills and my interests. One thing to be told what to write, but it is another thing to kind of see how someone else could write it. You still have about, I would say, for the first round, October, at least a month. So it's not too late, but it is important to get that first draft done as quickly as possible. The first draft is the draft where you probably have the most mistakes, it doesn't make as much sense, but once you've got that first draft there, you've got something to work from, and that's really important. Once you've got that first draft, the hardest bit is done, I would say. From that point, it's just like editing it, giving it to teachers, giving it to people to read. I myself have a service at the Page Doctor where we look at personal statements of any type, so postgraduate or undergraduate, and we can support you through making it sound as best as possible. So if you're interested in that, then do click on the link down below at thepagedoctor.com. But yeah, it's super important to get this right. It really is commit the difference between getting into a program and not getting into a program. Before I begin, I wanted to plug a video that I've posted before, and I'm not going to lie, and I'm not just saying this because it's my video. It's a personal statement writing video, so it's sort of a live video, 10 minutes long, and in those 10 minutes you will have a first draft, guaranteed. I'm not even just saying this, go and look at the comments right now. It is by far my best commented video, where people are like, I had no personal statement before this, and in 10 minutes I have at least a draft of a personal statement. So once you watch this video, definitely go and watch that straight away. It's literally just 10 minutes, and I kind of give you bits where to stop, and I tell you exactly what to write down and kind of make it related to your experience and your background. So if you don't watch this, go and watch that. So this personal statement I'm going to read today was written for a master's and PhD program. So either a master's or a PhD, it would work for both of them. It's around 500 words. Personal statements range from around 500 words to about 1,000 words-ish. Sometimes I look at characters, but it's around that kind of length. But the structure is always the same. So let me just get started let's get right into it. This is the fun bit. So to start off, the first thing you want is an opening sentence that's straight to the point, that says sort of what it is that you're going to be talking about, or just something that catches the reader's attention. You want to show specific interest for the subject, and you want to evidence this through what degree it is that you're interested in studying, or what program it is you're interested in entering, and it just highlights your suitability. So this is your first sentence, or like first two sentences. You want to grab that reader from that first sentence and tell them exactly what it is that you want. I said, during my biochemistry BSc, I became very interested in the structural biology aspect of science, which was furthered after completing a summer studentship this year. So that tells the reader straight away, I did a biochemistry BSc, because obviously this person is reading it for a master's, so they know that I'm suitable. They know what I'm interested in, so I'm interested in structural biology, and they also know that I did a summer studentship, which means I have the experience. So before they even read on, they know that I'm suitable in terms of my background academically, and also my experience, and also my personal interest. So I've put that all into one sentence. Don't start off with a quote or like something really cliche. I've always wanted to do medicine. Like, those things are so cliche. Get to the point, but get to the point using all of those aspects put together, where you're grabbing that reader and you're showing them that you're suitable for this. And then the second part, you want to like list or kind of detail activities you've engaged in that are related to this interest. So I've just said that I'm interested in structural biology. So what have you done to show that you're interested? This could be a work experience, summer internship, studentship, and be really specific and use as much subject-specific terminology as possible. And you want to show what you've learned and how this relates to what more you want to learn, essentially. And what makes you special? Why are you different to everyone else that's applying for that degree or for that course? And so let me read what I've written. It's a little bit long and a bit wordy, so bear with me. So the studentship which I was fortunate enough to obtain was in this person's lab at this division in King's College London, which lasted for 8 weeks from this date to this date, really specific. My task was to advance our molecular understanding of a certain human RNA binding protein. So I've said like what my role is. A lot of the time when people talk about their experiences, and this is for any experience, like you worked in a hospital, you worked in a care home, you worked in Primark, like they'll just say what the overall general role is as in that experience, rather than saying what they did. It makes such a difference saying I was tasked with the responsibility to do X, Y, and Z. So I was involved in advancing this understanding. This was done through trying to ascertain the conditions required to produce correct folding of a series of deletion mutants. And I go into like the science. So this included finding protocols for purification, amino acid boundaries, deletion, and other I talked about other experiments that I did. So you can see that I've gone into the detail, and for someone who's outside of this field, you'll be a bit confused, and that's what you want. You want to show them that you have actually learned something from that experience. Loads of people, everyone that does medicine probably has been to a hospital to do experience. That's a given. What have you picked up from that experience? What specific thing have you picked up? You may have picked up a name of a medication that you didn't know worked in the way it worked, and you didn't know about it before. You may have learned about a condition. You may have learned about a technique that is used, or whatever it is. You just want to be very, very, very specific to show that you've actually learned something. So then I go on to say, in that time, I was not only able to increase my knowledge of different lab techniques and why you do them, but I was also able to practice and refine these techniques to the point where I was confident enough to do them unsupervised. And I said, however, there was always someone in the lab with me for safety reasons, whatever. And I said it was a great step up for me from the kind of spoon-fed techniques that I learned at university and in lesson, then taking it to the lab and being able to look at results, etc. So you can see that I've discussed what I did specifically. I talked about the actual science behind it. So I showed that I understood the theory and I understood why you do things, and I was able to talk about it in a higher level way that someone who maybe didn't have this experience would be able to talk about. And then I said, and this helped me, and I went back to kind of the personal statement language, saying that this took me from just understanding the theory to being able to actually apply it into practice, and that's what I really enjoyed. So you can see that this differs so much from saying, I really enjoy biochemistry because I like biology and I like science, and I was in the lab for a little bit and I learned about biology and science and cells, and that's why I love it. Like, it's, that doesn't show your suitability, it doesn't show what you did in that experience, even though you probably have done excellent work. It doesn't show and it doesn't reflect that. So it's so important to be able to describe your work and your experience accurately. Then the third thing is to reinforce your interest. So you've talked about your interest, you've talked about your experience, go into more detail. So I've said here, discuss more engagement in the interest. So now you talked about the studentship or your experience, whatever it is that you did. You now want to talk about something else. So how else have you engaged with it? This could be if you are an A-level student that you got a certain grade and that was that showed that you're really good at it. It could be if you're post-grad, it could be that you did a dissertation in that topic for your undergrad. It could be that you read certain books, podcasts. You want to put some critical thinking a little bit into it as well, bring your own perspective, your own opinion, your own sort of thoughts. What I've said here is this studentship reinforced my interest in structural function and biophysical studies and influenced the choices I made for my third year module. These interests were in these areas, and I was really specific into what interests they were. And now you're talking about your academics a little bit, like what modules you did and kind of how they relate to this whole topic. And then I kind of asked the question. So I said this could help to understand the search for homologous sequences and may provide models to shed light upon the structure of poorly understood molecules. Kind of showing that I understand the field and I understand that actually we don't understand molecules and how they are structured, and through the work that I did and through this subject area we are able to do that, hopefully. So it's giving that question mark and kind of showing that you're interested in finding out more. Then the next thing is a critical discussion or a thought. So this means that you want to kind of delve a bit deeper, show that you have original thinking. What I've said is these interests also extend to biophysical areas such as these, etc., these methods, and these methods could lead to eventual elucidation of structures and possible further studies into these things. If this was, let's say, English, you could discuss a theory. You could mention a theory that you recently found out about and talk about it in a way that is original. If this was medicine, could talk about emerging therapies and how there's a debate about it or whatever. In this case, in research, I might want to, like what I've done, think about what methods are being currently used and where they could be extended to. So maybe an original thought or a suggestion. Now, no one's expecting you to be able to do groundbreaking research and groundbreaking critical thought because you obviously haven't done anything yet. Like, you're still such a baby in the field. But by suggesting these things, you're showing that you have a critical mindset. You have that research mindset. You have that mindset of a researcher where you're always thinking about the next thing, like what is happening. Then now we've delved into, so the majority of your personal statement should be very technical, it should be very subject specific, it should be a lot about what you know and how you are unique and how you have the skills and the mindset. But then this next thing that I've written down is my personal career goals. So now we're edging towards the end. So now, you know, the reader understands that you're interested and knows that you're suitable. Then I said my main reason for wanting to study a PhD is so that I can conduct research around my chosen field of interest, which I just talked about, with the hope of enlightening the scientific community with my findings as a researcher and my ultimate goal as a university lecturer. So this doesn't have to be too long, you don't have to go into all the details, but just something that says, you know, in the future, the reason why I want to do this PhD, this master's, this undergrad, is to become a lawyer, is to become a doctor, is to become whatever it is that you want to go into. But again, try to be a bit more specific. So I've said here that I want to enlighten the scientific community, I want to be a university lecturer, I want to work in hematology, I want to work in midwifery, like whatever it is that you are interested in. Try to be a bit more specific to show that you're not just saying medicine. Rather, you're saying, I want to be a doctor that works with children, I want to be a doctor that works in this particular area. Just shows that you have a bit more like interest. And then last but not least is why that lab, that group, that university, that department, that city. Now, don't forget that you are applying and thousands and hundreds of other people are applying as well. And you want to show that you have a particular desire. So if they were to accept you, you would accept them back because you still have, you know, a chance to reject them. They want to see that you are actually interested in being there and you're not going to drop out, or you're not going to be disappointed. And they also want to know that you've thought about why you've chosen that particular university or that particular course. And I think this is particularly the case where there are courses that you could apply, you know, you could do at different places, or you know, labs where you could be in a number of different labs. So why have you chosen that particular one? So I said my main reasons for applying to, and obviously at this place I'd put King's or UCL or whatever department it is you're applying to, were the list of projects available. The way that it worked for this application was that they had like 50, like a booklet of different labs that you could work in for your master's and your PhD. If you got in, you could then choose I think the first year you could choose like 3 labs to spend time in, and then you decide for the PhD which lab you want to actually go for. So my main reason was that list of projects available. There was like a massive list, and each of my choices were in areas of great interest to me and the possible interdisciplinary aid at hand. And of course, a major factor is also working and studying at a world-renowned institute, and this would open many doors for me, allow me to attain my aspired career goals. So you're kind of giving both ends of the stick. You're saying, firstly, I want to apply there because it can provide me with that academic experience. So it has the best engineering, you know, department. It has the best, it's research intensive. It has the best labs. Whatever it is that department of that university has to offer related to your course, like try to avoid like it's got a good library or something. Like you want to be very specific. You want to say, right, you've got the best of this particular aspect of the academic side of things. But then also, how can it help you in the long run? So it can help me with my academic, and that can help me because I'll have all these links, and like I said, I've said that it will open many doors. Being in a world-renowned institute, the actual institute itself, it's UCL, it's Imperial, it's Cancer Research UK, like it is going to give me opportunities in the future purely because of the name, and I know that, and they know that too, so they want to see that you are aware of that. So saying, you know, why, and if you have anything more specific that you research and you kind of want to mention, definitely mention it. If there's something more specific and you know that like only that university does it, or only that course can offer this thing, then mention it there, because it shows that you are passionate about that particular university or that particular course for this particular reason, and it's not just to get a degree, which is good enough. But obviously this whole thing is about standing out from the crowd. All of this is about being different, being unique, being memorable, and by saying something slightly different than others, you will be memorable. So yeah, I hope you found this useful, hearing how I've written my personal statement. Every university, for postgrad, you slightly tailor every application, because it's not like UCAS where you apply generally and then the same application gets sent out to everyone. With postgrad, your personal statement is different for every single application, so you can slightly modify these, but for the most part, that experience and that kind of chunk in the middle is the same. Let me know if this is helpful, and like I said, right now head over to the 10-minute video that I'm going to leave linked down below, where you can actually get something down on paper, and you will leave this video, or leave that video even, with a very rough draft, but at least there's something there. Yeah, I hope you guys find this helpful, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.